The DA and IFP in KwaZulu-Natal having strengthened working relations at local government level on Tuesday. They announced a service delivery pact aimed at enhancing cooperation and prioritising the interests, they say, of South Africans. But to get a better understanding of whether this pact will hold, let's speak to political analyst Siphamandla Zondi, who's joining us from KwaZulu-Natal. Very good evening to you, Professor. Thankful for your time as always. Is this a political masterstroke by these two parties?
Oh yes, good evening. It is actually a pact out of necessity. Remember that the two parties have been working together, trying to exploit weaknesses within the ANC, especially in the last 5 years, and have worked together in a number of municipalities and a number of cases. They've had this agreement that when they have two candidates and they let the stronger of the two candidates, whichever party it is, to run, and the other party supports that. And that's how they've been able to win a number of awards even during the by-elections. It is made out of necessity also partly because none of them know that they can win on their own KwaZulu-Natal, challenging the ANC in that province. And therefore it is necessary for them to work together and try and see if they can bring the ANC down, hoping that the ANC will continue to score own goals, undermine itself, divide itself internally, and allow many problems within it to fester. And if all of that works, this agreement would produce for them a good result come 2024.
You've described it as a pact of necessity, Professor, but necessity, as we know, can sometimes evolve, can sometimes cease to exist, in fact, or change altogether. How long before they begin, do you think, to see such gains that they can each go then their separate ways and not have to count on the other as sort of a savior in the event that the ANC appears to have a slight upper hand?
Yes. Given the fact that both of them are generally united and cohesive for now, both of them are generally united in the province. Given the fact that both of them have a shared ideological outlook around the liberal economics. They both believe in liberalism, the liberal economics and liberal democracy. Given the fact that the two have worked together already in a number of wards, in a number of municipalities, and lastly, given the fact that they have this shared objective to bring the ANC down, this might be an agreement that could last longer than the agreement previously between the IFP and the EFF, which did not last because ideologically they were very different. Secondly, they never had a history of working together. Thirdly, they came from different political traditions, and these divisions and differences would sharpen over time and would break that pact that they have. The one with the DA, between IFP and DA, is likely to last longer. But whether it will win elections depends on a number of factors. But one key among those factors is the unity or disunity of the ANC.
And when you look at the DA, it has grown, especially in the last two elections or so in KwaZulu-Natal. It's now a major player in terms of the politics in a space where it was predominantly an ANC-IFP election to lose or win in the past, right? What changed? What sort of shifted in the needs and the appeal of the organization to the electorate in that part of the country over the years?
Both the DA and the IFP actually have grown. And they have grown in the last two elections. And they have grown partly because of the dynamics of KZN itself, especially with regard to the DA consolidating what is sometimes called the minority vote and the middle-class vote, and the IFP consolidating its traditional base in the rural areas mostly and in the township. And both of them have found a way to do that, but both have benefited from divisions and difficulties within the ANC. For KZN, for the KZN ANC, the issue around Zuma will always pose a huge threat to its ability to consolidate itself, especially in the rural areas where the IFP has been making inroads, taking the same support base as Zuma had taken from them. And again, in the townships, where the IFP is now growing again. So the sooner the ANC resolves the issue around Zuma, the better for them, or the IFP and the DA will grow. Secondly, the sooner the ANC uses its change of leadership to show that it can deliver in a massive way. One has expected that you would see in the new ANC, given the fact that there's a danger of losing power, that they would behave like the ANC of Sibundebele and of Zweli Mkhize, that just did this. Every week there was some project being launched, something being completed, people were experiencing change in their lives. And on that basis, people swung their vote to the ANC. But we have not seen that with the new leadership of the ANC. And I thought they would have learned from those lessons, and they pushed very hard to do visible efforts to change people's lives, because no amount of talk, no amount of convincing or persuasion is going to change people's perception about the association between the ANC and lack of service delivery.
And the ANC at national level has come down hard on the PEC in KwaZulu-Natal in recent months. At some point earlier this year, in fact, there were rumors swirling that the PEC may be given quote-unquote supervisors from national office to help get to the 2024 election, or that they would be basically all done away with altogether, right? That has not happened at this stage. But you mentioned earlier the role of the former President Jacob Zuma, who has historically held a lot of influence in a province such as KwaZulu-Natal. And I wonder how then might they use him to their advantage in trying to win the popular support of voters? Do they even use Zuma, or do they go with party president Cyril Ramaphosa, who's the face of the organization?
You know, the Zigalala leadership, and that was removed at a conference last year, had sought to deal with this by assuring the support base that they support Msholozi or Zuma's political battles, and that they would do nothing to destabilize them. And at the same time, they sought, rather late, to show themselves as delivering and going onto the ground and making a difference and implementing and using the budget they have to cause change on the ground, but of course rather late. What the new leadership had come on the basis that the Zigalala leadership was perhaps not doing all of these things enough. But that leadership has been around. I'm not seeing major moves to accelerate service delivery on any front or accelerate economic growth, given the importance of the province now that there is huge spike in commodity trade and going through Richards Bay and Durban. And we're not seeing that huge energy that says we almost lost this province, we don't want to lose it again. And I guess they're banking on, again, traditional strategies of doing house visits just before elections to promise what they would done in the future. But the best way to convince people is to say, look what we have done in the past 18 months, what we have done in the past 100 days. Actually, it should be operating on the basis, right. This is what we do every 30 days. We need a project management culture if they are going to save themselves. Otherwise, the IFP and the DA will grow, not because they can deliver better, but because the ANC cannot deliver as well as it should.
Professor Siphamandla Zondi, always a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you for your time tonight on News at Prime.